Get a sip of water. Hey, Heather Kennedy from hot and sunny Tucson. It is hot and hot and hot here in Florida. All right, fantastic. Thanks for letting me know that. I told you guys, if you saw in the notes or in the garden tour yesterday, I really had hoped to go live from the garden studio tonight. However, it is still 94 degrees here and it feels like 101. And it seemed like sitting inside of a metal building that had no electricity was a bad idea. So I tried to make this look just a little bit fancier here. Mostly I was trying to block some of the light behind me because that is due west. And I thought the problem I have when I sit on the patio is that the sun is so bright behind me that the camera gain can't make up for it. So I thought maybe putting that up would help, but alas, I'll get better at this. Thanks for sticking with me while I learn and grow and we learn all this stuff together. So it is hot in the shed. It is even hotter. You're right. In fact, we had one of the Blink cameras sitting out on the patio today. I was trying to trick some lizards into eating some of the webworms that we collected off of the persimmon tree. And the camera, after sitting there a while, registered 123 degrees. So it's a black camera. It was sitting in full sun, but 123 degrees. So no. Thank you, Squirrel on the Fence. Let's see who all is here. Let's see. Hey, Kaylee, we've got Kaylee. We've got Squirrel on a Fence. Hello. Heather Kennedy. Hello. Elizabeth B. Hello from Indiana. Hello. Let's see who else we got here. If I can learn how to work a computer tonight. All right. Beach Winch. Hello. So glad to see y'all here tonight. I like, how has it even been a month since we were just sitting here? Wasn't that just last week? It sure felt like it to me. Kaylee said, here's another thing I could put in the shadow thermometer. She had this great list of all the different kinds of things that I could use in the shed. And I had this weird idea. It feels weird to me. Maybe it's my generation, but at the same time, it might be kind of fun. One of my colleagues wanted to know when I was having a shed warming because he wanted to bring over some champagne. And I'm thinking, don't bring champagne, bring stuff I could use for the shed. And I thought, maybe I need to have like a virtual shed warming. I don't know. I'm pretty delighted to have this shed, but if that's just a crazy idea, we'll skip it. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a funny little thing. But I'm for sure going to send him my wish list, since I don't need him to bring champagne. Just send like some good garden shears or something, because my clippers are toast, I tell you. So let's see. AC is set on 78 and is still clicking on. We're probably sitting on 74 in here right now. That's kind of where we keep it. Just the house is laid out due. Let's see, that's west. And so we get all the heat in the evenings over here, which is great because most of the living space is over there. But I don't have like many spaces in the house that I would turn the camera on, frankly. And so I wanted to pick a corner of the house where everybody else who's here could have their own privacy. And, I could limit the exposure of all the things that are usually everywhere. So you guys, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Everybody has that from time to time, I think. I don't know if it's being a gardener or just me. It's probably just me. So we had some only mid 70s today, 90 in South Jersey, mid 70s in Cape Cod. Wow. Now I will say, early this morning, it was a nice respite. It was only 77. It was only 77 at 7 a.m. It's been being hotter than that. I will tell you, I talk about microclimate a lot in the garden, particularly after this last freeze we had. But we have some, we go walking some mornings really early. And you can tell when you've gone down a street where there have been sprinklers on and you come around a corner and nobody's had on a sprinkler. You're on the street and you're like, this feels pretty good. And then you turn the corner and I was like, somebody must have just turned off their sprinklers because it's a totally different climate. So, and a big fan. And a big fan. Yes. Oh, oh, Kaylee, I'm sorry to hear about your AC. Yikes. Yikes. It just lots and lots of water. You guys, we have to take care of ourselves. Videos that I know are in process that y'all haven't seen yet. Coach Kim was here. You may have seen the introduction video where I just interviewed her. I have worked through the full first cut of the next video. And after, we filmed for 2.5 hours, about 2.5 hours while she was here. And I've got it cut down to about 40 minutes. Which still feels very long, but I think it's really behind the scenes of her sort of coaching me, except she's talking with the audience and talking with the camera. But I'm really happy. I don't normally say this about things like this, but I'm really happy with how the first cut went. We tried some things that I'd never done before, but the one reoccurring theme, and she said it over and over again. She goes, if you're in the garden, if you're working out, whatever you're doing, you have to take appropriate rest breaks. You have to make sure you're getting your water. When you don't, you make bad decisions. You lose your form. You aren't lifting properly. You make bad judgments. So please, 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 especially this heat wave, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And I promise y'all, this is water in here. Be sure to drink plenty of water. I say that because that reminds me too. And I say it so often now that my family hears it, that they end calls with me like that. And so it's kind of funny. So, my wife's like, and be sure to drink plenty of water and wear that high quality sunscreen. Okay. So it's pretty funny to me. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I like my little cup. This is a silly pint. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I picked them up when we were traveling, but I like having these silicone cups when I'm out on the patio, rather than taking glass. I do in the house. I usually drink out of a glass bottle. Most of the time we use reusable bottles. There are times that we do have to use plastic bottles. But I don't like taking these out on the patio if I can avoid it. So I have these, and I have, some Tervis tumblers that I will often use, particularly if the kids are around. We have nieces and nephews around. I want them taking this kind of stuff out on the patio. So. Oh, definitely a damp towel. That's some great advice. So if your air's out, or you want to maybe try a damp towel in front of the fan, possibly even wearing a damp towel, something like that would be really, really helpful. So yeah, so that would be helpful. So let's talk about what's been happening here over the past month, if you guys are interested. So I have shot a lot of video, and now I am the backlog on getting things created. So I appreciate you all sticking with me and hanging out. Welcome, Alexandria. Glad that you are here. So I am the person who does all the editing, and until we shot the video with Coach Kim, and I've had some other help with a couple of videos. Mostly, I shoot the videos, I script the videos as best I can, and then I come back and edit the videos and have to do all that stuff, which I'm delighted to do. Just takes time. And so I don't really ever hear other YouTubers talk about this. They just have this magic and then there's a video. But I think I like talking about it because I think it adds to the reality of what's happening. And so, for instance, the garden tour video, if you guys didn't see the monthly garden tour yesterday, that video took about an hour to shoot. And then it took about, because I want it to be better. I don't want to just give you the raw footage. Then it took probably about 3 hours to edit it, 3 or 4 hours to edit it. And that's without anything fancy. That's just cleaning it up and making sure, where I've made mistakes or something, I've cleaned up most of those. But I think it's worth it to deliver a video that is a better quality. So as I learn to do a better job editing, I want to deliver to you all a better video. And so what has happened though, now that I've learned new ways to do things, is it's slowing me down. Like, oh no, we could do this. But I think that they are going to continue to get a little bit better, and I'm having some fun learning some new things. So, Alex, welcome. How are you? How are you? Good to see you. Habitual Hobbies, welcome. Well, I hope that you feel better soon. Please feel better soon. Absolutely. So I've probably shot, yesterday we shot 3 videos. Mrs. Michelle, which was kind of funny. People are asking me, who is Mrs. Michelle? Are you talking about yourself? But Mrs. Michelle helped behind the camera yesterday, and we think had a reaction to the fig tree. Ended up with really strange, it almost looked like bite marks, but it was just weird. And after she showered and we put some calamine lotion on and went away. So the only place that she was up against plants was around the fig tree. So we're thinking maybe she has a mild reaction to the figs or something got on her. So if you guys have any ideas about what in gardens could do that, she was wearing shorts and she literally came back in with spots, and then they were gone within a couple of hours. It was really, really strange. And they weren't itchy. They did sting a little bit, but they weren't itchy. So, but they were just gone with the calamine lotion within 2 hours, like it never happened. So it could be gnats. It could be gnats. I didn't get bit at all though, but of course that is not unusual. If someone is going to get bit in our family, it is her, not me. I will get bit, but it's going to be after they've drained the blood from everybody else. So, welcome, L. Preston. Hives of some kind, maybe. That's because after the shower and the calamine, they were just gone. It was really weird. So, and they were just perfectly, it's weird to talk about this, but they were just perfectly round. I couldn't find any pictures online like representative of it at all. But, I'm just aware now and make sure she's wearing pants if she's over by the fig doing that. But it was really nice to have someone else behind the camera helping to do some of the shooting, because I can get in and do the things we're doing. So this week we staked persimmon trees. So that video is already scheduled in YouTube. So that'll be out on Wednesday. We got rid of webworms. I haven't finished that video yet. It's partially filmed. Of course, we did the garden tour this week. I have footage for birdies and Vigo bed assembly. So just all kind of stuff has been going on. That footage is really old, not really old, but it's older from when I put the beds together a couple months ago now. And just all this footage that I want to finish putting together. So, yeah, she eats figs just fine. So I'm not sure. Beach Winch says they are the biting bug magnet too. So yeah, I can't wait, by the way. She's also to get the shed in order. I cannot wait for that to happen. Hopefully, some of my work schedule is going to level out some, and I'll have a little more time to get out there. It was this really weird timing after our last video. Then the shed came at the end of the end of that week, and we had lightning and rain. And then lightning and rain for about 7 more days after that. So I'm not going to go hang out in the metal building in the lightning. So hopefully, and then we had really hot. So hopefully it'll get better. Michelle, I love your backdrop. Is it a shower curtain? It is a wall hanging that we got from Amazon. I had it hanging in the guest room for a long time. Our nephews used to come over and hang out, and now they're big and, they don't care about coming and hanging out as much anymore. But so we had that in the guest room for them just to sort of decorate it a little bit. And I was running around tonight trying to find something just to help a little bit with the bright light behind me. And so I'll figure out what's going to be the right thing for doing this. But it is, yeah, that is just a little wall hanging. It doesn't have any, hey, don't, hey, I know, but I'm on the live. Excuse me. This is Ginger. You want to say hey? You want to say hello to everybody? You want to say hello to the microphone? You want to say hi? Hi. You're a star now. Look. You see? Thank you. Thank you for indulging. But don't pull it down, okay? I know you like looking out the blinds. I know. But it is literally, I'll just show you guys how fancy this is. The illusion. I've had some garden clamps and I just clamped it to the top of the blinds, trying to just try to help a little bit so it wasn't just such a blank slate behind me and help with the light. So everybody says hello. Ginger Beachwinch says hello. Elizabeth says hello. Kaylee says hello. Ginger's not feeling it. Now see, I had it all tucked in nice over there. She pulled that out, but just trying to figure things out. You know, clearly I'm a real person, right? I don't have any magic wands. I don't have any of these tricks yet. Maybe one day I'll get to learn some of these tricks, but I do, while we're here, I do want to say, and I said it last time and I said it on the garden tour and I can't say it enough. I am so grateful for your support of this channel and of the videos I'm making. And you watch the videos, you share, you comment, we have conversations on them. And I am super grateful for that. When you click on the links that I share, when you make purchases from the links that I share, that does help my family. I've been saving up the money that I've been earning for that to help buy the garden studio that I now have. So thank you for making that possible. Thank you for being here and thank you for supporting this channel. I am very, very grateful for that. If you are ever shopping on Amazon or you want to shop on Epic Gardening or at Vigo Garden, Botanical Interest, you can find any of those links on my website at michelleinthemeadow.com/support. I should put them all in one place. I thought that would be a nice, easy place to put it. So if you're going to shop anyway, feel free to start on my link because that helps support this channel. And maybe one day I could be a full-time YouTuber. I don't know. That sounds like doesn't sound strange, but it feels strange to say that out loud. If that makes any sense. Okay, let's catch up on some of the messages here. The gnats, I think that the gnats know when certain people go outside. I even there's this commercial on YouTube I've seen a lot that said, you know, killed 50,000 mosquitoes in one night. I bought 2 of them. I set them outside a half hour before we went outside. Walked outside, 2 seconds, Mrs. Michelle, bit again. And she's like, well, these aren't working. Clearly not. So for sure. We talked about the gingers. Yes. Heather, you have 5 plus a feral out front. Yeah. So they're all fixed. Fantastic. Ours are all fixed. We have 3 indoors and we have 2 outdoors. You might see Ming Ming. She might come around. Theo probably will not come in here with all this happening over here. So Michelle, maybe post them under each video and make the links more available. Absolutely. They should be within every video that I create. I do try to include those links if it's relevant to the video, or I'm just putting that support link in there too. So thank you for that suggestion. I appreciate that very, very much. So aside from shooting a lot of videos, getting a garden studio, fighting webworms, staking persimmons, picking lots and lots and lots of loofah. We've made a few cooking videos, a couple of cooking videos this month, which was kind of surprising. I never expected to do cooking videos. but had a great dish. If you did not see the video, the thumbnail says too many tomatillos. Y'all, I made a dish called a shakshuka, and it's a really short video, but in essence, I guess it's normally a tomato dish, and substituting the tomatillos for the tomatoes, it was an incredible dish. Sauteed veggies, um, onions, bell peppers, garlic, jalapenos, cumin, coriander, salt, pepper, and then you saute all the vegetables down first. Then you add in your tomatillos and saute them down. Add all your seasonings. Once that is almost completely sauteed and reduced down, add in some eggs, make little wells, and add in the eggs like you're going to poach them. I know you could watch the video, but I just had to tell you because it was so good. Like, so good that I will be making it again and again. And I would it to me, it reminded me of like an inverse of an omelet. You know, for an omelet, you make a little bit of vegetable and then you make the omelet and you stuff the omelet. This is you make a whole bunch of vegetables and just add a few eggs. It was just really tasty. It was really tasty. So. Oh, great suggestion. Kaylee said, for those who may have come in late, if, I'm not sure when I said it at this point, a friend of mine said they want to know when the shed warming party was. Kaylee says, I could create an Amazon wish list instead of a studio warming party, and we could send you stuff without the bother of you having guests over. Hey, I like that idea. Does that seem crazy though? I think I'm a little bit older, so I don't. I support people who have GoFundMe's and things like that, but I just find it funny. I don't know. If y'all don't think it's too weird, I might do that. If you think it's too weird, I'm happy to take a vote here. I'm just curious. So, and thank you. I'm glad you guys saw the video. It was just, I did not, I couldn't in the video explain it. I liked it so much. I made it again the next week and forgot to put some of the seasonings, and it was still just very good. I can see it being, I don't know if you guys have recipes that are like yours. You have a certain way you make things. I do that with just a few things. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not a great cook. I'm an okay cook. I can put a meal together. I can plan a meal. I can do all of that. But I make a pot of chili. Somebody's like, what's your chili recipe? Have no idea. I just keep putting stuff in until it feels like the right balance. But this feels like one of those dishes you could do that because you could just really twist the flavor any way that you would want. On the menu tomorrow, we're doing our 4th of July celebration with the family early tomorrow. So in the morning, maybe even tonight before I go to bed, I'm going to make refrigerator pickles, but I'm going to do it with the loofah. I'm not recording this time because I want to see how they turn out. I want to see if it's worth the effort of recording first. And so, really? Do you see we're doing something here? We're busy. Oy, these cats. So, hey, Plant Obsessed, welcome. I cook with my heart. I do cook with my heart. And usually what happens is I get done cooking and then I say, Mrs. Michelle, please tell me what we need to do to make this palatable. But on the shakshuka, she was like, well, you saw the notes. I would do this and this. But for her not to have more notes means it turned out pretty darn good. You should, habitual hobbies, absolute. I'm sorry. I'm responding to one comment and reading another at the same time. Sorry about that. Habitual hobbies says she loves to cook. Almost never follow a recipe perfectly except baking. Always, you got to be exact with baking. You should make some cooking videos. I think it would be kind of fun, particularly regionally, if we're sharing and exchanging some of these kind of videos for what we're making, things that we're doing. I am definitely in the video. You guys were really clear yesterday about wanting to know about the Asian vegetables we're growing. So I'm thinking about just even dedicating one garden bed to like the Asian vegetables, or at least like a display bed that we can eat out of course. with the Asian vegetables, because I think that might be kind of a fun topic to follow and have it all in one bed. May make it easier to see what a lot of the things are. See here. Kaylee said she pictures in her mind Michelle putting sponges in jars of vinegar when I said I was going to make loofah pickles. I've picked the loofah really young, much younger this time. They're only probably 10 or 11 inches long. I intentionally picked them young, with the hopes that they will be nice for this. But I'm going to try that. I may do it tonight. I may go ahead and slice them up tonight. Put them in vinegar, sugar, water with some red onions. What's the worst that happens? What's the worst? And I probably have some pickling spice or something I could put in there too. So, hi, Angie from Zone 6A in Michigan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Jessie K, I didn't see you sneak in. You were sneaking in about the same time Ginger was trying to tear the curtain down. I saw that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Elizabeth says she typically follows a recipe the first time and then you just make adaptation. And yeah, I kind of do that too. There are some things that have to be followed. There's some recipes you really got to just follow them just so. But I tend to not be very good at. As for a person that appreciates the rules of cooking, the most important thing to me when I am cooking a meal, I know this is from my mother. And by the way, I would love to hear in the comment. I would love in the comments to hear if this is you guys. But my mother was a pretty good cook, Southern cook. How do you go wrong? Butter, salt, all the things, right? Grease. But she had this amazing knack and the logistics skill at a time where, 50 years ago, right? So it was a little bit different in how we cooked and things. No microwave, but she could put together a big meal that would be like a family planned meal, like a Thanksgiving or something, to where everything timed and came out when it was supposed to. So it could all just serve hot and nothing had to be reheated. It was like a miracle with a single oven and just a 4-burner stove, and so that to me was just a miracle. And so that's the thing that I like to do. If I am responsible for a big meal, I want to try to think what needs to go on the stove first, what needs to go last. And I give everybody like a 15-minute warning till dinner's ready. And then I'm mad if nobody's ready to eat when food's hot. So, and then I have to get over myself. And I do. And I do. And I do. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Changing the recipes using parsley instead of cilantro. I like that. Oregano instead of tarragon. One bed sounds like a great idea. I think that'll be fun. For those who watched the garden tour yesterday, I'm thinking the bed up front with just a sweet potato, one little sweet potato vine and one little potato plant. The potatoes will be done soon. I can start planting some other things in there. That's where I think I'll do that. That bed gets full sun. It's really close to the front, which is closer to the kitchen. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. So, Plant Obsessed is a good cook, but can't tell people what is in it. That would be my wife, or won't. She probably could, but she won't, because she just has a little knack. And literally, she would come home with spaghetti sauce, and I'd be, "What does it need?" And she would go, "Fish sauce." Can you imagine? And then I'm like, "Are you nuts? Why would you put fish sauce in spaghetti sauce?" And it tastes absolutely delicious. Doesn't take much, but the fish sauce salt is a very different flavor than salt. So, baking does have to be precise. Oh, thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Angie said it would be fun to send shed warming gifts. Gifts. You appreciate you. Thank you. And Jessie K, thank you for the super thanks or super chat. It doesn't tell me on this side what that is. Let's see if I can see. Nope. So, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. So, props on the long suit. And that is, so I'll make sure I tell Mama Meadow you said props too. She can put on a spread as well. So yes. Strong. Mama Meadow is very strong. So Plant Obsessed does not want people asking for ketchup. I'll make sure we know that, you know. So Plant Obsessed, actually, I have a question for you, if I may. I'll wait. I'll wait for you to give me your approval to ask the question. It might take a second. I know we're a little behind here. Oh, minced anchovies. Minced anchovies. That's good. Red Boat. I have not tried Red Boat fish sauce. We use squid down here. We use the squid brand typically. So, okay, Plant Obsessed. Thank you. So, I know that you don't harvest. I think if I remember, you said you don't normally harvest your worm bins, you just water it in. I really like that idea. But today I put frozen watermelon out into the sub pod. And I think that's okay. I don't think I'm freezing. It was 93 degrees at the time or it's 94 degrees, felt like 104. So I'm thinking putting frozen watermelon was okay, right? I mean, that couldn't have been bad. I don't think I would have frozen the worms with that. They would just run away, right? Because after I did it and I made the video, I was thinking maybe I should have double checked on that first. So I'll let you have a chance to answer. I know it takes a second. I don't know how far the stream is off on YouTube. I know that on Facebook, it's about a 18 to 40-second delay. So okay. Okay, the worms will move. Yay! And Kaylee, I think you're right. I don't think that watermelon was frozen for long either. It's probably, I bet if I went out there now, it's probably all mush. It's been a couple of hours, but I have to say, and I never think, I may take that camera that has the thermometer and just set it under there. I would like to see, I will say that even as hot as it was, I really, really believe having the big cover, the loofah cover over it, and having the extra shade over the sub pod is really helping. In fact, on the one side, when I put my hand, because I touched into the soil to see, and it was warm, but it wasn't hot. Now, the other side was steaming a little bit, which I was really worried then. So I made sure I put some watermelon on both sides. I was pretty sure they would move. I was pretty sure they would move out of the way because they don't want to be there. I was just glad to see they still existed after the ant invasion last week. And so I was worried. We got a really, really really bad ants. So really, really cool. Today, I wish I could show you this. I'm going to make a video. I need to go out after we're done on the live and shoot this. So here is the strangest thing of the week. And actually it's today, it happened today. So I guess it's the strangest thing of July so far. We had webworms in the persimmon tree, in one of the persimmon trees. And my understanding is that really they're not going to do a whole lot of damage to a healthy tree. But it's the persimmon tree. I don't, it's not like it's a gum tree. And so I wanted to get them out of there, but I was trying to think of what the best way was. And I do have a video coming out about this, but long story short, since you're on the live, you get the privilege of these backstories and things that are happening, right? That's one of the benefits of being here and hanging out. So I took the web down and I went and put it into the bird feeder, the bird feeding tray that we have out there. And a few birds came along this morning. I have to see if I ended up with any footage. I set the camera out there, but the birds kind of didn't seem to know what to do with all this web and stuff sitting in the tray. And so a few hours ago, that was early this morning, a few hours ago, I went out to put some ice in the bird bath just to try to, because it's just so hot. I put some ice in the bird bath and I looked over at the bird feeder. I wanted to see how many were there. And I realized they have made a web under the tray. And so they're now spinning a brand new web around the bird feeder. So at least they're on the bird feeder. And there's that. So, Kaylee said, I was under the impression that type of caterpillar in the webs do great damage to trees. Now, I will say the video I watched was from a tree person and they said it's limited damage. I don't know, but I was worried enough about it that I didn't just leave them there. And they talked about just using a water hose to just spray them away. I felt like just spraying with a water hose, and feel free to chime in, y'all, because, you know, I felt like spraying them with a water hose was just opening it up and dropping them down so they could just climb right back up the tree. Like, why would I spray them into my other things in the garden? And now that they have enveloped and made like a little cocoon around there, I'm really glad that I didn't. I can't wait to see what that looks like. So, um, my strangest thing was finding a little possum stuck in my casting bins in the basement. She was super calm and didn't cause any drama when I took her back to the yard. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine finding a possum in there. I will say we have a rule for the garden studio. If you're not in there or like right there with it, the door is closed. We can't leave that open because I'm not really worried about the lizards, but I am now worried about huntsman spider. If y'all saw that in the video. But I don't want to get a squirrel. I don't want to have moose to go in there and leave his mark. I'll be polite about that. I don't want to have any other kind of mouse or other critter find its way in there. So the rule is, if we're not right there at the door, we're not going in and out, that door needs to stay closed. So I can't imagine walking in and finding a possum. We do have some possum around here, though I have not been seeing them lately. We let the meadow get tall, and the batteries were out in the outer cameras, and so it's been mowed back again now. I try to a few times a year let it just kind of go crazy, wild, big, so that there's just more plant matter back there. But yeah, I can't imagine opening it up and having a possum there. I've caught one possum on accident before, and they were not pleasant or happy about it. It was they have some teeth. They really do show you their teeth. So we were taught, Kaylee, you were taught to cut and burn those branches. Hey, I have not, I hadn't thought about doing that. I did give a few of the worms to the lizards. The lizards got a few on the patio. The ants got the rest of them on the patio. The ants decimated them. I decided I can't use that video because some people would be unhappy. But the ants took care of a few of them as well. So let's see. I have not tried BT because I have in so many different areas. I have caterpillars intentional. So we have here zebra longwing. We have what's on the citrus, the swallowtail. We have Gulf fritillary as well as monarch. I use BT really sparingly. Typically, I use BT in my water buckets where I am propagating stuff. That's usually the only place I'm using BT anymore. So, but thank you for suggesting that. It is a reasonable solution. Just understand that BT is, while it is not, doesn't negatively affect everything, it does affect all the caterpillars and all of the worms and stuff like that. So, I don't know about all the worms, but all the caterpillars. So it will affect them. Good rule: treat the edges and corners of the shed inside and out before you find the spiders once they get in. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So Huntsman Plant Obsessed asked about huntsman spiders. So my understanding is that huntsman spiders are venomous. They are venomous, but typically their bite is not deadly to humans. At worst, you get nauseous. But they are actually venomous. But they would rather run away from you than be in contact with you. They really aren't interested. So apparently biting is a last resort. And that is, I mean, really, isn't that most critters, unless you have like a hungry or rabid animal, or an animal that feels like it needs to defend itself or defend its territory. Most animals would rather not come in contact with you, wild critters, wild creatures. They'd rather not. And so this particular huntsman spider could have sat on this cup top without any problem and reached its legs. It scared the bejesus out of me. It really, really did. So, okay, and so those could be tent caterpillars. I don't know. I don't know what they were. I just the nursery down the road, I saw a sign that said time to spray for webworms. So I'm just assuming they're webworms, but I don't really know the difference, frankly, between tent caterpillars and webworms and all those things. But the good news is they're out of the tree. They're completely out of the tree and they're back building a nest around the bird feeder. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it was. I had never seen one before. So I had never seen a spider like this before in my life, and she had an egg sac. So if you saw the video and you saw the picture, that was very, very similar to what I saw, except my hand was this close to it because I was testing something. And so, yeah, I have never seen a spider that large. In fact, my first thought was, how in the heck did I get a tarantula in my yard? Like, where would a tarantula have come from? And it really was so shy, truly, truly, because when I saw it, I jumped. And I didn't happen to have my phone with me, which I almost always take my phone out to the garden. And I didn't happen to have it with me. And so by the time I came inside and went back, it had run around and down and away and was hiding. It literally was hiding from me. And so, but I will not be sticking my hands in the tomatillos anymore without gloves. So, yeah. Kayla, you were hilarious. Oh, egg sac. So you've got huntsman spiders, not spider. Yes. Yes. And we all know what happens if you accidentally step on a spider that has an egg sac. That we won't even talk about that. So I did put, so tell if you did see that in the video, did you think I gave enough warning to anyone who may be squeamish? Was that a sufficient amount of warning? Because I never want to show things that freak people out if I can help it. If I can help it. From time to time, there might be a snake, but I want to do the same thing. I want there to be a little bit of warning. Like my aunt has nightmares. She's triggered by even pictures of snakes. And so I would not want to show her. I don't send her pictures of fun things that happen in the garden just for that reason. So let's see. What else? What else should we talk about tonight? Gosh, we're here 40 minutes. Okay. All right. Yeah. Fantastic. Elizabeth said she had plenty of time to cover her eyes and then look. I like it. I like it. Well, I just, I look, I don't want to be a, I want to have fun with you all, right? I want to have fun. I want to share information. I'm trying to let a little bit of my funnier side through. Apparently I thought I was always funnier in my videos, but someone who's been working with me on a project said, no, not really. You could be funnier. It's okay. Why don't you do these funny things in the videos? I was like, I do them. She goes, I think you cut them out. I don't think you do. So I'm trying. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah. So, oh, wait, let me read this about the big wolf spiders here. One on your pillow once that you mistook for a mouse. Oh, that's a big spider too. That's a big spider too. Yeah. Oh, these are great spider tips. Who would have thought? If you're going camping in an area with spiders, I guess, or anywhere, right? But keep your camp roll closed. Keep your sleeping bag closed until you're ready to get in it, so nobody can go in there. Well, actually, funny you should say that exactly. On the video that's coming out this week, I had on a pair of gloves and I got stuck. And so I yanked the gloves off and I throw them off in the video, although that most of that is off camera. And so my wife picked them up and hung them out in the garden for me. And so then in another video, I think in the second video I was shooting or something, she's like, why are there gloves hanging on that post? I was like, aren't those from this morning? Like we left them outside. Oh, when I did the garden tour, the gloves were on the post. That's when it was. And so I grabbed them this morning and I just brought them in the house and threw them on the kitchen counter, which is not where gloves belong. And so she picked them up and moved them. And when she did, something came out of the gloves, but she doesn't know what or doesn't know where it went. So, oopsie. So, check your gloves, check your shoes, check anything you've had outside before you bring it in the house. There's your little pro tip of the day. So, my Kaylee, that feels a little strong. Kaylee said we should talk about my trespassing, thieving neighbor. So, there's an older gentleman who walks, and English is not his first language, and he's probably old enough to be my father, and so which makes him old, right? And I shouldn't say that. But my guess he's somewhere between 75 and 80 would be my guess. He might be even older than 80. But one day my alarm in the front went off, like my motion sensor alarm went off. And I was like, this is very early in the morning for my motion sensor to go off. And I just walk out the front door to see what's going on because it's daylight. And so I walk out on the front door and he turns around and he's holding 2 peaches in his hand and he's walking across the yard and he just waves. And I just wave because I really don't know what to make of it, right? So a few weeks ago, I was out in the yard and he said, are those figs? And I said, yes, those are figs. And I offered to let him try one. Well, he just worked his way around the tree and took, he didn't take a lot. It's not a lot, but then he was pulling some that weren't ripe. And so he was pulling them off and he was taking a bite and throwing them on the ground. And that left me less than happy. And I really don't mind sharing. I really don't. But I also would like to make a thing of jam or something, some preserves, just one, a year would be nice. And so there weren't very many ripe ones on the tree or close to ripe. And so he was walking by. I was out in the yard again this week. And I don't know if he's coming in the yard when I am not out there, except for that one day I know he did on the peaches. And so I don't know particularly, but I was out there and I was talking to another neighbor and he walked on by and then he said, are the figs ripe or something like that? And I said, not really. I'm trying to get a few more ripe. And so he just walks right in the yard. He goes, no, this is good. And he just has one. And I was like, hey, could you save some for us? And he ate another one. And I said, could you save some for us? And he ate another one. And I was like, sir, do you mind? Save some for us, please. I'm trying to be polite. He's my neighbor and he doesn't live really close, but I don't want to live in a neighborhood where I have wars with my neighbor. And so he started walking into the yard back to the second tree. So the first tree is 10 feet from the street or more. The second tree is another 15 or 20 feet away. And so I said, no, sir, come back. No. And so I just had to call him back out of the yard. And so that's the whole story. So I'm thinking what I really want to do, 2 things. I want to pack up a few figs and give him some so that I'm giving them. He doesn't have to take them. And then I'm thinking about propagating a fig tree for him and let him grow his own figs. What do you think? So there is the rest of the this case of the disappearing figs. I got water on my glasses now. I can't see y'all. I can see me in the middle. That's it. Give me just a second. I can read what y'all are typing. I see it scrolling by there. Lord, don't let there ever be an apocalypse, because if I lose my glasses, I'm in trouble. So, well, and I was wondering, I am wondering if maybe he might have, a little bit of dementia. There may be a communication problem. I do know who his son is. And so if I'm not able to politely resolve it, I may have a conversation with his son and maybe his son can help me. So, but it just seems like, I see. Okay. Great suggestion. Seems like a nice way to handle it. Propagating a tree. Yes. Giving him more. No. Give them a tree. Yeah, I just think I don't know. I can. I want to learn to propagate anyway. So why not? It doesn't really. It's not really that difficult or hard for me to learn to do that, and just put a couple of pots and keep watering them until they're starting to show off, and then give him his own tree. So, because I want to like no different than with you all. I mean, I know we're virtual community, right? But with my neighbors who live around me, I want us to be able to rely on one another and talk to one another. And actually, I even kind of feel bad talking about it behind his back because I know a couple of my neighbors do watch the channel. So hopefully they won't call him out. But at any rate, it just seemed strange to me. And by the way, if the fig, like we don't have a sidewalk, there's not a sidewalk. The fig is not in a corner of the yard hanging over a public walkway or into a street. And I really do believe, like, if I had a fence and I had a sidewalk and my food was falling over the fence and people came by and grabbed some, you know, okay. Um, but Mama Meadow had a problem. She did have a fruit tree up front. Not only did people take the fruit, they damaged her fence while doing it because they would climb her fence and stand on the top rail of the fence trying to reach up in the tree and actually broke her fence one time. So I can't even, I don't know. I just can't imagine doing that. So, um, Beach Winch wants a cold hardy variety. Is the Chicago hardy? Is the Chicago hardy um, the hardiest one and also does not include wasps? Heather says figs are easy to propagate. Okay, bet I'm going to try. I actually do have plans to do a propagation video. One of the harder parts of some of the kinds of videos I want to do is they just take time. So if I want to make a propagation video, it actually has to work for me to show you how I did it. And so the first I did a bunch of cuttings one year, but I don't think I did it right or something went wrong one year, like last year. Last year. And so today, when I did try um, the persimmon branches that I cut off, I did take and trim the outer bark off of the branches, and then I shoved them down in some soil. I did not have any root tone or root stimulator available at the moment. Here is the bad part about moving into the shed. Like when stuff was in the garage, I didn't know where it was, but I could at least find it. Now that it's in, because it's in my mind where everything is put, I put it out in the shed. My nephew, who you might see in one of the videos, he may appear in the background. He doesn't want to be in the background, but I may not be able to trim him out. But he helps. He came over and he worked for me, and actually two of my nephews came over and did some work for me and just moved everything into the shed. So it is organized in the mind of a 10 and 17-year-old as opposed to the mind of a 55-year-old. So there is that. So are you telling me that propagation is an addiction? Like I really need one more addiction? I just think it would be fun. I know once you start propping, you never stop. I like there are so many things that you can just propagate and grow from. Have you all seen there's some guy, he makes, I don't know if he does YouTube shorts or if he's just on Instagram, but he uses like a heavy, it's not super heavy metal, but it's a heavy rock. And he goes, I cut my plants to make more plants or something like that. He's hilarious. He's like doing air guitar and jumping, talking about propagating plants. So he may have that obsession disease for that. Um, so Chicago Hardy does withstand cold. Chicago figs don't live in my central Illinois yard. I have to take them in the basement in the winter. So Plant Obsessed, do you keep them in a bucket or what size bucket are your fig trees in? I'm curious. 12 fig trees in your basement. and I just have two. I do want to trim it back some. I think I want to cut it back a little bit more, maybe to encourage some lower growth. I got a message from one of our other viewers here, Karen. Karen suggested that I trim some of the lower branches to reduce the to reduce some of the fungus, reduce some of the branches being on the ground, and to discourage some of the animals from climbing up into the tree. So um, So plant obsessed, is it not a 5-gallon bucket? Really? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think well, and I don't again, I'm in Florida. I don't have the same kind of winters that you all have in those areas, right? Not even close. And so what we did for the avocado, which I think I will do again, is I found my neighbor, it was really kind of cool actually. My neighbor said, "Hey, I'm getting rid of these old Christmas lights. Would you like them?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." Because the old style Christmas lights put off a little bit of warmth, right? And so, not this season, but the prior season, I wrapped Christmas lights around my avocado tree and old style Christmas lights, and I covered it to sort of help with the coldest days. So, okay, so we're talking about wrapping them. Well, and if you can keep them in a bucket and they'll give you plenty of figs, then of course you can consider what you want to do to move them. I can't imagine, like my excuse me, Mama Meadow has she had a greenhouse this year. She actually ended up with the same greenhouse that I had, and now the cover is already speckling because she had not taken it down yet. But she set up a greenhouse on her patio, and she shoved all her trees that are in buckets in there. And that worked really, really well for winter. Her usually she has a much bigger shed than I do, garden studio. She has a 20 by 20, and so usually she throws wide the door, moves them in, and then every other day or so opens it up and brings them back out and puts them back in, because we have such fickle weather here. And so we don't have this consistent like y'all do in these other places. We just don't have day after day after day after day of freezing weather. Well, in this winter we really didn't. It was cold, not very cold, kind of warm, freezing, very hot. It was just it was insane. Mother Nature was really upset about some things. That's all I can say about that. She is upset. The so let's get let's see. I started in a I have to let you finish that beach winch. Make sure I didn't miss any other things here that were flying by. We are hitting the top of the hour. Last time, Heather Kennedy, you said I should keep going another half hour. If y'all have questions, I will. I will show you one thing though. I forgot about this. I made these last year. And I want to do them better, but I created this little journal last year on Amazon to sell as a blank journal. It's just fully blank. But I actually do want to make some of these. It doesn't have to be logo merch or anything, but I want to make some that are better than what's on the market. So you could help me. Do you guys use a garden journal? And if you do, what kind of pages would you want? Like what would you want to have here? Would you want a place for a date? Would you want particular sections by the month? Would you want gardening tips? I just think it would be kind of fun to make another one of these. I haven't started putting any things in here, but I don't know why I thought about this tonight as I was getting ready to get on the live, and I was like, I haven't even been writing in my journal. I really want to do a better job at journaling. The making the videos is helpful because I get reminders of pictures that I've taken. So if you guys use, I don't know, I guess that the iPhones do it as well. I use an Android. And so I get, today, this time last year, or 1 year ago, or 3 years ago. So I do get some recall about that. Okay. Heather, thank you, Heather. We got a vote for continuing to go. Um, but I think it would be helpful to have a journal and, you know, go back to it and go back and look. And I don't think it has to be like all 1 year, right? And just like this is only 2021 or 2022. But I do find it helpful. I think maybe recording the anomalies, things about temperature, the staking video for the persimmons that's coming out on Wednesday. Um, I, I have not, I don't typically water after my trees have been in for 2 years because of the way my property is designed and the way that I planted them. I don't ever plan to water them again, typically, once they've been established for a couple of years. But I also, with that, really, it's not a perfect thing, but I really try not to plant things that don't belong in my zone, right? So I want to work with nature. I try to plant things that are good for my zone. When I'm looking at stone fruit, I need stone fruit that has the right number of cold hours for my area. I know, like, for instance, we supposedly can grow Anna and Dorset apples, and you need one of each. But I don't know that we'd like apples enough for me to invest the energy in those, but those are the only two that I could grow here. The persimmon, on the other hand, which is what my wife wanted, I was very concerned about that because I thought it needed much colder temperature than we have. But I found out in researching to write up the little copy that goes with the video that you don't really have to worry about them until you sort of get around to 100 degrees from a heat standpoint, but they might need more water. And we had eight and a half. I keep talking about this because I'm still blown away. We had 8.5, 9 inches of rain over a 2 week period. And the way that the two properties come together here is there is this V. I'm still going to make that video. I just haven't made it yet. So my house and the other house, there is this V on the side that is not the banana side. And so on the banana side, it's like this to the other house. My house is here. So there's this V. And so all the water off of both of the houses runs down to this V. And I have intentionally planted on my side of the property line in the V, and the V is kind of deeper on my side. So those trees, that all soaks in. I put in 6-8 inches of mulch and have topped it off a couple of different times. And so it stays really wet. So I don't tend to water my trees that are in the ground. And it turns out maybe I do need to water a little more than I have been. So I'm going to learn more about that. But with that, the thing that I learned this week when I shared a short about avocados. And I'm sorry, I don't remember who asked the question, but they were in I think they were in on the Gulf Coast, of Florida, and in a hotter zone than I am here. And they were asking about the heat tolerance of the avocado. And I'm totally doing a video on this. And so you guys can have the preview of that here. But I did not know that heat can be too much for avocados because what avocados grow in Mexico, right? But apparently, so hopefully, guys, you like this little fun fact. They do grow in Mexico, but they're actually grown in the mountains where it's cooler. And so I have a Mexicola variety, which will handle degrees. Apparently, I was told 26. Research said 20. 20 is unusual here. But I do know, this is a little tip for you. Write this down somewhere. Write it in your journal. If you are growing avocados, actually, it doesn't matter what you are growing. Here is the very, very important tip for you. You probably already knew this, but I had to learn the hard way. If a plant flowers and you're going to have freezing weather, you have to protect the flowers, even if the plant is cold hardy to the weather itself, because the plant is cold hardy, but those sweet little flowers are not. And that's the mistake I made with the avocado this year. But back to the heat tolerance of the avocado. So what I discovered, the Mexicola, and actually, once we start getting around 100 degrees, which is really close to where we've been, it needs extra water. It might even need some misting to help it. And so I was really surprised at that. Now it does. Now I will say the avocado is the one tree that I do. I said I don't water all the trees, but the avocado is the one tree in the ground that I do water some because I know that the roots are higher on the ground. We mounded it up. I got a whole video planned to explain that, but I thought that was interesting. I never thought about the heat tolerance of avocados. I'm going to scroll back here. Beach Winch says, I need to journal as well. Making the pages with squares would be cool. So would it be, I don't mind drawing in this. So making squares like a plot or making squares like a garden bed or big squares or graph paper. So do you mean big squares or do you mean graph paper squares? Let me know that. And maybe I alternate the pages. So draw like that. I'm a very good artist. Can't you tell? So I'd love to know that. Tips. I created future calendars from my garden notes and put on next year's calendars, like when to plant, when plants matured, when critters and insects show up, and what worked to get rid of them in the garden. Oh, I love that. So future garden. Oh, so I like that a lot. Tips, way to map out your space so you know what you planted and where you did a good job and whatnot. I do like the idea of having garden bed pages. I want it to be useful. Maybe it's in sections. I don't know, not just journaling, but some sections. More, I would like to see, oops, sorry, I scrolled away. Plant Obsessed would like to see more advice videos on trellis from Vigo or other kits. I've just started using the metal raised beds and I'm struggling to keep the plants neat. Got it. I have a trellis video, and I know I keep talking about this one trellis video, and thank you guys. Actually, that's what I really need is videos I'm supposed to make journal. I think I shared this last time. I've been waiting for the Asian wing beans to spring up because I wanted to have vines that I can wrap around the trellis just as soon as I put it in the ground, because I don't want folks that drive by who are scrappers to think that they should just come out and pull the metal trellis out from my front yard. So, I mean, if someone will walk in and take a fig. So there's that. So definitely more trellis videos. I have some thoughts about the trellises for the Vigo bed as well. I want to take a look at that. I'm curious. The Vigo Garden makes a trellis that fits their bed. Something to keep in mind. I don't think that the specific trellis for Vigo Garden will work on a birdie's bed. And here's why. Well, I mean, you could adapt it, but if you're going to spend that much money, you would want it to work first off. So let's go there. The panel width on a Vigo bed, while the ribbing is almost identical, if not identical, the panels are different widths. And Vigo Garden has designed, and actually I found out it is Vego like Lego, but I still like Vigo. They have designed cross pieces to go in with those trellises, by the way. And so because the panels are different widths, those cross pieces, even though the uprights will fit probably with the little padding for the ribs, the cross pieces aren't going to probably fit because the panels aren't the same size. But I'm going to still do some more research about that. And I do want to talk about trellises more. I have mostly been using cattle panel trellises. I have used them both as an arch in the middle. And I know you asked for a video. You didn't need a full description now, but I'm just thinking it through out loud. I've used them as a trellis in the middle. I've now put a trellis on top. And I've also turned it this way, and I've put in a T-post on each end of the bed and made a trellis down the middle. I have not had a neat garden bed yet, Plant Obsessed. And so the only neat garden bed I have is the one where the sub pot is, because I had to garden around the sub pot. And that's probably my neatest garden bed. I'll get there eventually, I suppose. The sweet potatoes look neat because it was only sweet potatoes in there. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Future calendar. Yeah, we talked about that. Let's see. Graph paper. Perfect. No problem. Graph paper. That's helpful. That's helpful. Perfect. I like that. L. Preston, y'all are so organized. I need to start journaling month into the growing season. I won't know what's going on or what anything is anymore. I absolutely have that problem all the time. I have, I had someone said, what kind of tomatoes are those? Don't know now. I was really sure I would remember, but I didn't. So, yay, wing beans. Let's see. Audrey is using the cattle panel trellis as a jump off point to take over the neighborhood. Yes, the loofah Audrey is taking over and is down the fence. I don't know how many loofah my neighbors are getting. I'm picking them off the fence on this side, off the trellis. Actually, I should show y'all this. It's always funny. Hang on one second. Hopefully if the cat takes over, tell the cat I'll be right back. I got to show y'all this. So, oh, she's wondering. So, this is just over a week's worth of loofah that I have collected. Just about a week. I can't tell you how much it weighs. These are the small ones that I'm going to use for the pickles. What I found is I let them get too big. Even though I did that video, I think I did the video about what size is too big. And while when I made that video, this size was pretty good for cooking, I really think it has to do with the kind of rain we had. I feel like they got really stringy. And so it's not good enough to make a sponge, but it's also too fibrous to eat. And so I have a lot of these big ones now that I just saved back on the counter, and I'm waiting for to go and dig a hole in the compost pile. I have a big compost pile in the back, and I'm gonna dig a hole in the middle and just dump them all down in there. And then I'll have loofah forever because I know they'll probably sprout. So about half of these I won't be able to use, but yeah, that was quite a that. Let's see. And so back to Plant Obsessed. I planted my wing beans. They're only a few inches tall. Once they come up, Katie barred the door. If they like the conditions, they're going to do great. So I'm excited for that. Heather Kennedy said, I need other ideas for trellises. There is not enough space to do cattle panels. So, there are lots of things that you can do for trellises. Have you guys seen, I think the channel is Diary of a Plant Girl, but she uses these little H frames. Apparently, this is something they use in concrete, in narrow concrete. And so it just looks like a ladder. I think they're 6-8 inches wide and 8 feet long. And so they make really narrow trellises. And so that might be something that could be adaptable for what you're doing now. I have made a couple myself out of wood and chicken wire, and they are ugly, but they did the job the first year. I did not use treated wood. The wood didn't last, but I've just tried different things with that as well. And I want, trellises are expensive. Like the very first year, I bought some of the metal trellises, just the stick in the ground trellises, just like for a rose or something. And they were like $18 or $19, and they're basically useless for very much. They probably are really pretty for some flowers, but for growing beans and other things, I found they weren't big enough or wide enough to do the things I wanted to do. So, all right, let's see. Preston, Kaylee's answering Preston's question, about the labels. Pages of shapes that represent raised beds with notes as to the scale compared to the graph paper and the measurements of real life beds. Everyone loves to play with cutouts, removable stickers. Oh, I like that. Stickers, huh? Yeah, holy moly. I know this is delayed. Yeah, holy moly on these, huh? It's just a shame too, because they don't feel, I don't know, and they're sharp. Like this could be dangerous. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So probably not. This has a little noise reduction thing on it. Yes, worm food, definitely worm food. I give the loofah peelings to the worms a lot too. So some of them will probably go in there. I create our kitchen waste is still more than I'm comfortable putting in the sub pod because I'm still trying to manage that. Um, I don't want to overheat it with too much food. So excellent. Heather Kennedy, I've seen those. Good, good, good. I don't know. Those look like something, you get really creative. I am testing a product from Tink Tube. That's who I'm making the thing from. I will have an affiliate link for that if you're interested, to where you build your own trellises and you use their parts. And so it's kind of like a giant tinker toy. So I'm really excited about making this trellis. I can't wait. But I'm building an actual custom trellis. And so I just have to wait until I have the energy, time, effort, and all those things put together at the same time to get it done. But now I really got to get going on it because my Asian wing bean vines are probably this long now. So Callie Kim 29. Yes, she has a bunch of different kind of trellises. She does. Is her video like 40 homemade trellises or something like that? Somebody has one like that. I do not know what those are. I think it is actually an H ladder. I'm going to forgive me. I'm going to look that up real quick here, but I think that's what it's called. Let's see. H ladder for concrete. Let's see if that's what it is. Let's see if it gets me close enough. Ladder mesh. It is called ladder mesh. This one, they may be different kinds. This one said it's an 8-foot ladder mesh block, and they're about $4. Here we go. That's at Home Depot. And they look like that. But maybe you could string a couple of those together to make something that you would need. So good, good, good. My plan is to get some bolt cutters to cut them in half. So now, depending on where you live, if you don't already own bolt cutters, if you can borrow them, then yes, you can save money buying the 16-foot trellis at our Tractor Supply. Actually, not our Tractor Supply. Our Tractor Supply in the little town down the road. We were over in another town. Mama Meadow, the guy would not let her buy 8-foot panels. He goes, "Let me just cut that for you." Now, I don't know if that happens everywhere. I probably shouldn't tell that, but he just cut a 16 and a half for her so she could fit it in the back of the truck. So that they did that for her there. And so there is that. Then they also sell, at least at Tractor Supply when I went, they also sell 8-foot panels and they sell shorter panels. So they have the regular height, I think it's 50 inches. Then they have some that are like 44 inches, or 34 inches, but check those out too. Hey, Metal Hendrix, welcome, welcome, welcome. Plant power, my friend. A paper doll mashup with the garden journal. That's really interesting. I like that idea, though. I got to tell you. Talking about the loofah here, the courts would call that a weapon of opportunity for self-defense if you had to use a loofah that way. I say baseball bats for that typically, but should I say that? I give all my elderly female relatives baseball bats when I find them on sale at thrift stores and yard sales because I think they should have one in their house. Easiest thing, easier than anything else. So fantastic. 6-foot stakes with jute twine for cucumber trellis, and it worked great. The nice thing about using something like jute as opposed to a plastic line, at least for me, or a poly line, is that jute, when you're done with the season, right, you just cut it off and throw it all in the compost. Whereas if you buy some of the polystring that they sell, you don't want to. I wouldn't want to throw the polystring into my compost. So very cool. Yeah. I did cut my cattle panels, and so see, this is what happened. I'm trying to answer one and I see the next thing come across. I I could not use bolt cutters right now, but I do have an angle grinder, and I used an angle grinder last time. If you have not used an angle grinder before, watch a couple of videos for safety for that. They throw sparks, so you don't want to do an angle grinder somewhere where you have an open, you have open gas or open fumes or anything like that. You want to wear leg and feet protection because it throws sparks down. I asked me how I know I got burnt the first time I used one. But the angle grinder worked really well too. But you got to be brave. You got to be brave with the angle grinder for sure, for sure. Um, yeah. So I didn't know we would get down this path of protecting our ourselves. So it's not premeditation, uh, but yeah. So if I'm going to give a baseball bat, I need to make sure I'm giving balls and gloves. Yeah, they have grandchildren, so it's just their grandchild left it there, right? For sure, for sure. Yeah, Heather, go check those out at Lowe's and Tractor Supply and see what they have. So, oh, good, you have a grinder. So, yeah, there you go, there you go. And I think you can figure stuff out. It's amazing how resilient you are when you want to do things, you want to figure things out. I challenge myself with the changes that are coming for my wife with her job. I think I know I shared this last month. She got notice that they are closing where she works, and she got her layoff date. And so we'll see where that goes out. But with that, I'm trying to be smarter. Like I had a whole plan for the back garden. We already had the garden studio ordered, but a whole plan for the back garden and more trellises and more garden beds. But I said, that's not very smart. I need to do things that are smart. So it's really interesting. I find myself, well, how would I do this if I didn't spend any money on it? I think that's a great question to ask yourself. That'd be a fun live one night just to kibitz about that. Is to do that. It's not organized crime, it's gardening. I love it. It's organized gardening. I love it. I love it. I love it. So someone else asked about merch again yesterday or today, that I need a "What's Growing On" shirt. I have to check that. Oh, hello. Wait, you want to come say hello? You guys, you have a rare opportunity to see the king of the house. Are y'all ready? The king of the house. I don't know if he came on last time or not. No? You're not feeling it? Look that way. Look that way. Say hello, everybody. Say hello. You don't want to say hello? Okay, cranky boy. Okay. That is Theo. That is Theo. And he is a beauty. I thought he was a rat the very first time I saw him. So so what's growing on? So should it be what's growing on with an apostrophe on what's growing on? Is that what y'all think? I may have to do this. I may have to quit resisting this merch stuff. I just feel like my channel's not big enough to do that. But I guess it doesn't matter with some of the Printify stuff and all those places. So we almost had one more. So thank you. Thank you. He is lovely. He is a cranky old man. He is a cranky old man. So Heather, is that growing without a G? I don't know. This is so funny. What's growing on? Oh, no, I don't know how to spell with a G. Going on. Look at that. With or without a G. Yeah, okay. With or without a G. What's growing on? Just a question mark. No quotes. Picture some veggies and plants. Okay. Okay. Maybe we have options. Maybe we have options, but that's kind of funny. I appreciate that. But I do have to think, like, I want to be really, like, so far this channel has brought me a lot of joy. I've learned a lot about making videos. So I had never edited videos on this scale before I started this channel. So if you're thinking about starting a channel, you too can learn how to do this, because I've learned how to do this. I used to make training videos, but that's why I have microphones and stuff like that. I used to make training videos, but it was screen videos, screen share videos, no face. You're just going to get into this file, click here, do this, do that. Very no personality kind of videos. And so those were the kind of videos I've edited before. This has been a whole new learning experience for me. So, hey, Pinky's doing good. Yay, Pinky. So glad, glad Pinky's doing well. It's kind of fun to have all these cat lovers here in the channel together here. Are you cozy there, ma'am? Yes. Okay. There you go. She said, yes, she is. She doesn't mind bathing herself in front of y'all. So I am so glad, Metal Hendrix. Thank you so, so very much. Thank you so, so very much. But yeah, so I think because I am having such a good time and it does give me a little side hustle money. I do want to find ways again to deliver better videos for you guys and gals. Um, I love knowing what all kind of videos you want to see. I've got a list like that long, but I don't care. I'm going to just keep making them as I get through them. My goal is to really, really continue to make better videos because I want you guys to enjoy them and I want to be proud of them. And I want them to be useful and helpful. And I mean, from time to time, I'm going to have some vlogish content. And I do enjoy the vlogish content, but I really want to get better and better at making the videos. So they will help themselves. Where cats are kind of like 700-pound gorillas. Where do they go? Wherever they want. We have a few house rules here for the cats, and other than that, it's kind of like arguing with a teenage boy. We've just saved our breath, to not argue with them, and we have a few simple rules, but they for the most part do it. So now habitual hobbies. You're going to have both cat lovers and plant lovers, which that seems to be a really good cross section there. So that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, we did another half hour. How did that happen? Well, if I want to take a picture of this webworm on top of the bird feeder, I'm gonna have to do that before it gets dark. So in case something happens to it overnight. Is there anything else we should chat about before it gets completely dark? You can see even since we've been on the call, it's changed. Like the light's no longer beating through this. It's not dark yet, but it certainly is there. Time does fly when we're having a good time here. We really do. I enjoyed chatting with you guys. So, thank you, Metal Hendrix. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You guys, it means so much to me to have you want to sit here and hang out with me on a Sunday night. I'm still enjoying doing these lives. I want to continue keeping them up. Have a good night, Plan Obsessed. I want to keep them up once a month. Eventually, I may be able to do them more frequently. Maybe we'll do more frequently and shorter. I know some of the other channels are going weekly. I'm just not there yet. So I appreciate all that you guys do to support the channel. If ever you are, again, I'll say this at the end, I'll wrap it up with this. If you ever want to support the channel in a way because you want to purchase something, you can always go to my website at michelleinthemeadow.com/support. I guess I could type that right here. See if I can type and talk at the same time. /support, and there you can see all the links, anything you may want to click on there. I appreciate you. Thank you so, so very much. The cats all thank you. Mrs. Michelle thanks you. Mama Meta thanks you. They're probably glad you guys keep me busy and keep me off the streets. But I am really grateful for all that you all do, for all that you share, for all that you help me learn, and for all that you encourage. All right, my friends, until next time, remember, got to do it. Drink plenty of water, wear that high quality sunscreen, and as always, have a fantastic day. And have a safe holiday. That's true. Have a safe holiday as well. You guys are very welcome. Thank you for watching and have a great night. Bye, y'all.